Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. Can I get a smile from everyone, even up in the audience? Up in the balcony. Good. Oh, that just made me so happy. Let's kick off this morning. I'd like to open us in a word of prayer, and then we'll get to talking about why we're here this morning. So please join me. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, God, I just thank you so much for all of the things that you do for us and you provide for us, Lord. We have the freedom to be here this morning, to sit here. I pray for each and every one of the students and faculty and staff represented today. Lord, I just pray for this panel this morning, calm nerves, and just let us have a good time. And I just thank you for everything you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, like I said, good morning and welcome. My name is Amanda Pollard. I am the Director of Career Services here at King University. And our panel today for convocation is called Practice Your Profession, a student intern panel. For those of you all that don't know where I am on campus, I am in Nice Wonder Hall. If you walk straight in the building, I am the office suite straight in front of you. What do I do here at King? I assist students, like the ones here, in a variety of ways. So you may be a student who says, I need to choose a major or a career that best matches with who I am. I can help with that. I can also help you practice your profession, talking about internships and research and ways to get out and test the career field. I can also help you write a great resume, how to interview effectively, how to network, and present yourself in the best way. I also help with students looking to go into graduate school. If you guys right now were to hop onto my LinkedIn profile, you would notice in my headline that I have the words Internship Champion on there, and that's because I truly, truly believe in the power of a great internship. And I've been doing this work for about 27 years now, working with students, getting them out, helping them to test out those career fields. To me, an internship is a great way for you to increase your skills, have something wonderful to put on your resume. At the end of the day, an internship is a career exploration activity. I have had students come back from internships and say, I have found my people. This is my career industry. I have made so many great connections. And I've also had students come back and say, I'm glad I did that now. That's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. And let's reroute here. May I encourage you guys over the next 2 or 4 years that you're here at King that you think about getting some kind of career-related experience, whether it's research, whether it's an internship, whether it's a great part-time job that lets you test out the skills that you're interested in using and practicing your profession. Can I start by giving you guys a great statistic? A study was done recently, a nationwide study, where they talked with 55,000 employers. Okay, we're not talking 500 employers, we're talking 55,000. And they said, what do you look for specifically on a resume of a soon-to-be graduate or a recent graduate? And they had a long list of things. 70% of those 55,000 said I look specifically for an internship or related experience. That's why we're doing the panel this morning, okay? We want you to have that great experience for you. Will you guys help me in welcoming our panel this morning? These students, no one hesitated. I reached out to these students specifically. I got responses right away. Yes, I would like to serve on this panel. So I invite you all from the balcony all the way down to give these students your utmost attention and respect, because this is hard to get up in front of your peers, and so I do appreciate them. Let's start and give them a round of applause this morning. So let's find out who we have up here on the panel. I'm going to have each student state their name, their majors, minors. A lot of these have multiple. I'm going to have them say their academic level, junior, senior. And then I'm going to let them tell you where they did their internship, what company or organization, and the city and state, the geography of that, because I want you to be paying attention to all the things that they're going to say, because if we have time, love for you guys to ask them some questions, okay? So we're going to start with Brandon.
Well, my name is Brandon Harris. I major in DMAD, which is Digital Media Arts and Design. Digital Media Arts and Design. That's probably why none of you recognize me, because I am the geek behind a computer in the Mac lab or down in the basement in Sales Hall in the photography studio. So I'm a senior, and my internship was done at Food City in Abingdon, Virginia, and I was an advertising/marketing intern.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Vanessa Neubauer. I'm a senior. I'm double majoring in security and intelligence and Spanish with a minor in criminal justice. I did my internship at the Institute of World Politics in Washington, D.C.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Leroy Matarute. I am a senior and double major of business management and sport management. I've done an internship at Bristol Motor Speedway, which is in Bristol, Tennessee. I've done another one with Tri-Cities United Soccer Club in Kingsport, Tennessee, and I was also part of the FIFA Club World Cup this past summer. Thank you.
Hey guys, so my name is Jenna Canova. I'm a senior with majoring in business healthcare administration. I did my internship through Ballard at Holston Valley Medical Center, and yeah.
You did it at multiple locations.
Oh, and I did it at Holston Valley too.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hey y'all, I'm Abby Bramer. I'm a junior here. I did my internship at the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hi, my name's Katie Ryan. My major is business with a focus in economics. And I did my internship in Piney Flats with Bell Helicopter.
Hi, my name is Natalie Ward. I am a political science and history major, and I did my internship at the Carter County Circuit Court in Elizabethton, Tennessee.
Well, we could pretty much stop there. I mean, that is a diverse group of internship experiences. Could I ask someone in administration to take some pictures, if you don't mind? You got pictures? Okay, great, thank you. Sorry, not that I want pictures of me. I just want pictures of the students. Vanessa, I'm going to kick off with you this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about your internship, what you did? And I'm interested to know how you actually found the internship, and if you could remind them where you did that at.
Yeah, definitely. So I did my internship at the Institute of World Politics in Washington, D.C. The funny thing is, it was not the internship I was expecting to get. I found out about this internship through one of my friend's parents who tried to run for Congress. And in the process, he met a few very important people in DC, and he actually made a connection with the president of the institution, who happens to be from my hometown as well. So that's kind of where I got connected with that internship. I reached out to her and was quickly connected with all the internship people there. Quickly, what I did there, I was part of 2 research projects, one independently and one as a group with other interns and doctoral advisors. I also got to do weekly intelligence and policy briefings, and I also took part in a master's level degree course while being there.
Wow. Thank you so much. Brandon, same question. What did you do at your internship, and how did you actually find the internship?
Well, we actually had a recruiter from Food City come to one of our classes, but it wasn't exactly the same internship that I wanted, and originally it wasn't paid, so then I was kind of hesitant because I already worked like a full-time job while doing college, and I was kind of like, I don't really have time for this, can't afford to be off. But then through LinkedIn, which LinkedIn is a very good tool to have, it popped up as a graphic designer for Food City at the corporate office in Abingdon, which is like 6 minutes away from my house, and it was paid. So I said, heck yeah, let's do it. And so I applied, hopefully to get the job, and that's how I did that. And I also, speaking of what I did there, it was a lot. I took over 4,000 photos during the internship. I worked on the weekly ad. If you've ever been in any grocery store, the weekly ad, the paper ad, I worked on that every week. I did multiple designs. I worked on projects for the Speedway Classic, the Braves and Reds game, got to go to that game, so that was an awesome experience. I got to design a bass boat, popcorn bucket, anything you could really imagine. It's hard to say everything that I did because it was a lot. During my last presentation, there was so much that the file size was like probably 50 gigabytes or something, so it was hard to talk about all of it, so I had to limit it to a few things. So one of the bigger things was the bass boat and getting to work at the Speedway Classic, so that was a lot of fun.
Very cool, thank you. Lee, you've actually completed multiple internships during your time. How have these experiences confirmed or changed your career plans?
Thank you for that question. So the first one I did at Bristol Motor Speedway, I was in ticket sales, and it helped me understand how to communicate with customers and how to sell a product. And then the second year, I changed departments, and then I went to communications and public relations, where I had to deal directly with the drivers, take them around from the airport and all that. And you are literally representing the brand to the highest level, because these are well-known people that you shouldn't even make a single mistake, because a single mistake that you make with the driver, that's a headline. So you are being taught to be so careful with what you're doing. And then the third year, I then decided to go to Tri-Cities United, where I was in the marketing department and social media. So it's like the second level of fun for the players or the kids after they're done with the field. So it has helped me like transition in almost every department of business management and sport management, and understand that possibly I would want to work in youth sports than in professional sports, because you actually have more impact on the kids and the next generation than the professionals who have already made it. So I think it was actually beneficial for my career plans as of now.
Thank you. Hey, Abby, can you tell us a little bit about what you have done at your internship, and actually you're continuing to do at the internship? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I do anything from like press releases, doing things on social media. Over the summer, I got to participate in an induction ceremony where all of the pro players who are retired or any present coaches, past coaches, get inducted in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and we just honor them and just really see how their careers have impacted the community.
Great. And you're continuing to work there? How does that work? Are you like driving down there or virtual?
Currently I'm not driving down there, but I am still doing it virtually, where I will still like do press releases and do blog posts for them and work on their social media.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hey, Natalie, can you tell us a little bit more about what you actually did at your internship, and maybe tell us your best day that you had?
So at my internship, what I would do was I would sit in on like court sessions. I sat in on general sessions, juvenile court. I sat in on civil court as well. And they were all different, but they all had similar, I guess, like proceedings. And so it was really interesting to kind of hear like the terminology that they would use and learn more about, you know, like the language that they would use in order to like work in that field. My best day was probably a day where I was sitting in juvenile sessions court and just seeing like some families get brought back together. There was a lot of bad stuff that happened, you know, where, you know, especially in juvenile court where parents weren't doing what they were supposed to do, and, you know, families would get broken apart. But sometimes it was good, and they would get back together, and it was really inspiring to see. So.
Great. Thank you so much. Jenna, very similar question. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you did at your internship and maybe your best day?
For sure. So at Indian Path Community Hospital, I was able to shadow each of the managers in practically every department. So I saw everything from new life in the babies to surgery to security to the pharmacy. So really every department in the hospital to just kind of see how it's run overall. And I was also able to talk to like the C-suite. So I was able to talk to the CEO, the COO, and like the CNO. And then for Holston Valley Medical Center, I was able to go through and just like see some of their departments and how it was different from like a community hospital versus a bigger hospital. And then I think my best day was I was actually able to sit in and watch a surgery, a robotic surgery where they removed a gallbladder. So that was pretty cool to see that and how far we've come.
Thank you. Something about Jenna. So at the end of internships that are for academic credit, I ask students to send me a picture from their internship. And Jenna is a business management major, right? And her picture is her with like nursing gear on because she got to sit in on a surgery. I think that was very cool. So thank you about that. Katie, tell us a little bit about your internship, and which was actually a co-op, right? So a co-op can take many different forms, but for Katie, she took part-time classes and then worked part-time. So she worked 20 hours at her internship site. So I'm just throwing that out there that might be an option for you as well. Tell us a little bit about your co-op.
Yeah, so I was over at Bell Helicopter down in Piney Flats, and I worked in procurement, which basically means I'm part of the supply chain. I had one vendor that I would order for. They were called Bracket, and basically that was landing gear for all of the helicopters that were coming in and out of Piney Flats, which is pretty cool. So I would sit in a cubicle at Bell, and I would track all of the orders that were coming in and out of the facility, and we order thousands and thousands of parts in a week, so some parts are going to be late, obviously, so I was in charge of making sure those parts were coming in on time, and if they weren't coming in on time, I was in charge of making sure that I had the date that they were supposed to come in, and I could give the buyers an updated date on when those were coming in. And I did do part-time work there, but I was in classes full-time. So I was in a full-time schedule with school and a part-time job. So I was there Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 to 2, and I was doing classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Great, thank you for that. I did not know that you were doing full-time classes too.
20 hours.
Ooh, okay. Wow, I don't suggest that. So, great, thank you so much. Vanessa, I want to come back to you and ask you about your internship. Did it confirm or change your career plans in any way?
That's a really great question. I think it definitely reinforced the passion I already had for national security and intelligence. However, being a part of this internship and all of the people I got to meet with gave me a much bigger view of all the opportunities I had, which can be daunting at times, especially because you think you know exactly what you want to do, but then there are all these options given to you, and you're like, well, darn, I could do something else. But it was a really great opportunity just to figure out what all those opportunities are and how I can best use my skills.
Great, thank you. Brandon, very similar question. I wonder if this experience confirmed or changed any of your career plans?
I would say a definite yes, because I was always, I've worked since I was like 15, never really in my field. I've gotten opportunities to like take photos, do graphic design, like some side projects, freelancing, but going to Food City, being at the corporate office, working full-time, 40 hours a week, doing what I love, it was an awesome experience, and finally an experience where I was actually in my field, and it was just like something that like you work so hard for your whole life, and that's why you go to school, to do something that you love, and especially meeting everybody at Food City, they were so kind and so loving and just welcoming in, and if you had any questions, come to me, we'll answer your questions. So it definitely confirmed, this is where I want to be. And I've always kind of decided, people have asked me, well, you have all these different abilities, you can do graphic design, you can do videography, you can do photography, social media. What exactly do you want to do? And, they kind of asked me there, because they wanted to get me, they wanted to step my foot, wherever I wanted to. And I said, throw me wherever you want me to throw, and I think that's a good thing to ask, is because they'll throw you everywhere. I got to work on videos, I got to work on photo shoots, I got to work on graphic design, really anything I wanted to work on, and so that was definitely where I want to be, and I can confirm that I hope that is where I continue to go. So.
Great, thank you so much. Interesting fact about Brandon. This past week, Dr. Brumlick, Dean Robinson, and I got to go visit Food City Corporate. And just to let you guys know, Food City now has over 160 stores in 4 states, I believe. And so when we went to visit with his former director or supervisor, they showed us some of Brandon's work. And some of that work is out in every store. It's national. It's out on their website. So it was really exciting to see his work right there. Lee, I'm going to ask you to choose one of your internships and tell us about your best day and your worst day. I just threw him a curveball. I didn't tell him I was going to ask him this.
That's a difficult one to answer. I think let me start with the worst day. So the times I was at Bristol Motor Speedway, we had a drag race. And then they recently just installed a new ticket booth. And as you know, because of the thousands of people that come to the track, you definitely cannot use Wi-Fi because there's competition for like the network. So that ticket booth, they had to use Wi-Fi instead of using cable. So now the races have started and we have like 150 people in front of the ticket booth, and then the Wi-Fi just went dead. And now everybody's just looking at us in front of the ticket booth like we're not doing our work, but we actually couldn't do anything because now, because of the digital side, if there's no connectivity, then all the machines don't work and you can't do anything without internet. So we have a lot of people in front of us yelling at us. We have no idea what is happening, and we're just a bunch of interns in the ticket booth. And now we're trying to find where our supervisor is so that he can come and do more like the public relations to talk to the customers, and you just have a lot of people just yelling at you. I think that was my worst day of the internship.
Sounds pretty bad, actually.
Yeah, it was. And the good one, I think this one would go to Tri-Cities United. We were having a summer camp, and then there was a kid that we did an interview with because I was working with social media. So she saw her video on Instagram, and it was after like 5 months. And she came to me, she's like, "Hey, you're Leroy, the social media guy." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then she's like, "I remember you because I saw my video on Instagram. And I still remember that because you made me happy." And I was like, I didn't know that kids had that concentration span to remember that you actually changed their day, that they remembered it 5 months afterwards. I think that was probably one of my best days in my internships.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic. I love that. Thank you so much. Abby, the next question is for you. And I wonder, too, Abby submitted a slide for her sport management, and you had all these pictures with famous people. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that. But also, my next question, can I do a two question for you? Did you feel prepared for your internship?
Yeah, so with induction, I got to meet a lot of really cool people. I got to meet Sue Bird, Megan Rapinoe, Gino, he's the Unicon coach. So it was just a lot of people like that I never thought I'd meet. They were all so kind and very humble, and I just wasn't expecting that because I've never met anyone famous before, so like that was pretty cool. Prepared-wise, I did feel prepared academically. Professionally, I was just like, what on earth am I doing? But I learned, and like they told me to breathe. I kind of struggle with that sometimes, so that did help. So yeah, I'd say that.
Great, thank you, thank you. You know, something I'm hearing kind of a pattern with is, and you all can say, no, it wasn't that way, but these employers want you to be there, right? Your supervisors were like, we want you to be here, we want you to be comfortable and grow here. Natalie, I'd like to know from you, are there things you wish you had known academically or professionally heading into your internship, and did you feel prepared for the internship?
I felt pretty prepared just because the people who I worked with, they were very, very welcoming, very kind. They definitely wanted me to be there. But a lot of it was just doing it going in there, not really knowing what was going on, and then you slowly kind of understand, like, oh, this is what this means, that's what that is, and I think it definitely, it was easier after about, like, the first week. Academically, I don't think there was anything here that could have prepared me for that. It was a very interesting experience.
Great, thank you so much. Jenna and Katie, very similar questions to you guys. Well, it's a similar question to the two of you, not to what just Natalie answered. But Jenna, I wonder if you have any advice for students thinking about an internship, whether they have to do an internship or they want to do. Any advice for them about heading into an internship?
Yeah, so like she said, they want you to be there. They put that posting out there. They want you to learn. They know you're coming in as a college student, not knowing how to do a lot of stuff, and being there for that opportunity. And then I think some advice is just try different things, like even if it's not exactly like for your major. Like with what I did, I'm healthcare administration, but I saw every aspect in the hospital. So that was really cool seeing different things. Like I said, being in surgery, I thought that was like one of the coolest days I was there. So you really don't know what's out there until you try stuff. So just go and like get different experiences. Like he's tried different things and the different opportunities and stuff. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Katie, any advice?
Yeah, so my big piece of advice was to just do it. I mean, it's very uncomfortable and very scary at first. I mean, I was walking into Bell, never really been in an interview before, and I have 3 like very important people sitting across the table from me, which is very intimidating because I was interviewed by 3 different people, and I walked out and I was like, I don't think I did well. Like that was really scary. And turns out I got a call the next week and they wanted me to start right away. So if I wouldn't have gone into that and done that, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I think being uncomfortable is part of growth. So if you really want to get out there and you want to do something really cool with your life, you just have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I really like that. That's life, so well done. So I have one last question for the group, and then if anybody has any questions. I wonder if any of you all have received a job offer or an offer to continue the internship, a huge network connection that you made. Have any of you all received that? A job offer, can you continue, or some really great connection? Anybody who wants to talk about that?
So I actually did this internship last semester, and then they originally asked me to stay throughout the summer, but I decided I was going to go home and work somewhere else during the summer, but they asked me to continue for the fall. So I did. I haven't really gotten to the job offer part yet because I still have another year after this for my MBA, but they have spoken about possible jobs and maybe they're under Textron, so there's hundreds of companies that I could go to under that umbrella. So they've talked about me looking for job opportunities closer to where I want to be, and they've been very open about that.
Great. Yeah.
The outcome of my internship was a bit different. It was more of a pathway program. So how that worked, where I interned at the Institute of World Politics, it's a master's and doctoral degree level institution. And so from this internship, I was able to apply to their master's program early and receive the possibility of receiving scholarship because I was an intern. I did get in, I was admitted and received the scholarship. And in addition to that, just all of the connections that I made, because now I know people in just about every federal agency possible, the CIA, FBI, the DOJ, so I have a lot of great connections, and that's one thing about this internship. If you guys are interested in national security, intelligence, or even their event and management internships also have very good outcomes and networking.
Great. Hey, let's talk later, okay? I want to know some of those connections, so.
Yeah, so to add on to that, I got one too. This is my last semester, and TCU has offered me to stay for the next year because I have done a good job for their marketing side, but also it helped me also in creating our own business too that can complement what they do. So we started a business that deals with college recruitment because a lot of American athletes don't know how to be recruited into college. So working with Soccer Club Academy, I realized that there was a gap there, and my friends and I started a business too that will be helping some of those athletes to get into college.
Great. Brandon?
To that as well. So they wanted, what was funny is because they wanted to give me the job so bad, but their office was already full. But the connections that I made is amazing because they offered me, they said, as soon as we find space, almost everybody was pushing to give me the job. So the connections and just making an impact, even if they don't give you a job, you have to think that the company, how many connections they have, they reached out to multiple other companies, seeing if, they needed a job. And then I actually also, Ballard Health actually had a graphic design position, and I applied for that. And their answer for me was, you are everything that we need, but you don't have your degree yet. So I have one more semester left, and I have both Food City and Ballard Health under my belt, and, they're ready for me whenever I'm done. So even if you are, freshman, junior, whatever you are, even if you can get your foot in the door, all these companies, if you leave an impact, they're not going to forget your name. Ballard Health, they've got my file ready. Food City's constantly trying to make way for me, find an office for me. So, even if you are new and not a senior or something, don't be afraid to get your foot in the door because they'll leave your name and they won't forget as long as you make that impact on them. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Onto that, you really have to put yourself out there because this is kind of like another unconventional outcome. But as part of my internship, I was able to do independent research, and I was offered the ability to have it published in the Institute's journal for the winter issue. And on top of that, because I made as many connections as I did and made it what I wanted it to be, I was able to have an interview with one of the federal agencies. I didn't hear back, but it was a good propelling point to my professional career.
Wow.
So.
Anybody else? Wow. Okay. Can I just say wow again? I wonder if anybody has a question for the panel, something that you'd like to hear from them. Anybody? No pressure. Oh, one question here. The question is, do you
stop taking classes to do your internship, or do you
so do you, for the internship or co-op, do you stop taking classes and go work, or do you do classes and work? So I guess what I'm gonna, or Katie, you wanna answer that?
Yeah, so in my case, I was a little unconventional because mine wasn't in the summer. So obviously if you're in the summer, unless you're taking summer classes, it would just be that internship. But Professor Brumlick was also, he really helped me to make my schedule to where I could just do classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays and then work at Bell on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if that's something that you're into, your advisor would most likely be able to kind of mold your schedule and be able for you to not only take your classes, but get credit for that internship. So like with mine, I'm getting elective credit at Bell, which is helping me graduate. So I'm not only getting hours in an internship, but I'm also getting class credit.
Yeah, typically with an internship, so you can do an internship for credit, fall, spring, or summer. Summer, you're typically working full-time with the internship, but for fall and spring, you can definitely be taking classes and doing the internship. It could be a full-time or a part-time status. So you're seeing here represented a variety of ways that happened. Great. Well, I have more questions, and so I'm going to ask one last thing here. Does anyone want to add to anything that we talked about today? Best day, worst day, career plans, confirmations, anything? Okay, go ahead.
So I'll add to what Brandon said about it doesn't matter what year you are in school to just get out there and make those connections, because I'm gonna get my master's after, so I still have 3 years left, and I just did my internship. but I know like that I made an impact, and those people, they'll remember me eventually, like when I come back and want a job, or like when I want to do something else. So yeah, I like what Brandon said. That was good.
What are you getting your master's in? What are you going to pursue?
I'm gonna do business administration.
Okay.
So that way it leaves the door a little more open. So.
Great.
I'll add a little bit of advice. I don't know about you all, but one thing that I learned that was kind of hit you in the face where I was in an office was how much you'll learn about emails. Because I mean, you get some experience here, emailing back and forth, but you're not going to get that until you're in an office environment or really in an environment. You go to lunch, you come back with 20, 30 emails. That's just never going to happen in school, not unless you just don't read your emails. And the workflow, it's kind of like whenever you're in school, your professors do the best job that they can to try and help you and give you advice to when you get a real job. But then whenever you get that real job, it's like school times 10 as far as projects go. I don't know if that was like with you all, but I know whenever I sat down and got on the computer after my first week a few times, they gave me a few projects. I was like, oh, he can do the work. So then next few weeks, it kept getting bigger and bigger. But the good thing is that you learn how to manage that. And that is something that the biggest thing that I can take away from that internship is that you will never get that experience until you're actually in that environment and saying, hey, I know you already have 10 projects, but we really need this in like 10 seconds, so can you do that really quick? And you're bouncing back and forth, waiting on different things from different clients, and so best advice I can give you is, know your emails and, work on communicating, because in that professional environment, it's not a text message. It's not just saying, emailing somebody and be like, hey, I need this, can you give it to me? It's, a very professional environment, and just be prepared to have a lot going on.
So I would like to offer to you guys that you practice your email skills with us, your faculty and staff. That's how we communicate with you guys. So I'm going to let them continue. I am going to come over here to the computer. I'm going to put a QR code up on the screen. So I'd welcome you guys to take out your phones. It is a quick 3-question survey about our panel, about the experience this morning. So please, guys, continue. I'm just going to go ahead and put the QR code up here.
I think the other thing that people should understand too is make use of LinkedIn. The way you use your Instagram, use LinkedIn the same, because a lot of people out there, they are watching what you're doing, and the job market is a bit tough. So the earlier you get to be exposed out there, the easier. And most of it is you get a job based on referral. It's not just about the degree that you have, because almost everyone now has a degree. So it's what makes you stand out from everybody else. So make sure you use LinkedIn. It has been helpful to me. I think it has been helpful for a lot of guys on this panel too. Make good use of it. Thanks.
Hello? Oh, there we go. Sorry. I would definitely agree with that. I think LinkedIn is a great way to put yourself out there. And you also, going into any internship or any job opportunity, you have to realize that you are in the same place as everyone else. I had a lot of trouble really coming to terms with that, but I realized just how quickly, especially in the national security and intelligence realm, like how competitive it is, that in this internship, everyone alongside me was rooting for me and with everyone else, just because like we all know how hard it is to get a job. In any sector, really, it is hard right now. So just know that you're working alongside people who are just aspiring to do the exact same thing and may not know as much as you do or may know more, but you can always learn from other people.
Thank you guys so very much. I really appreciate it. I've wanted to cry multiple times because I just get so excited about students and the work that they do, the professionals that they are becoming, and internship just is a great way to practice that profession. So let's give our panel another round of applause.